Hello, everybody. And so today I'm continuing my series on Opendoor and why Opendoor is better. And I want to go back in history a little bit and talk about a book called Freakonomics that was published in '06 and it used to be a bestseller. And this book pretty much predicted what is happening to realtors right now with Opendoor. And I think it's fascinating uh, that the issues with the traditional real estate business have been pointed out for almost 15 years and probably longer than that. So I just want to take a look back into some of the fundamental economic reasons as to why this disruption is happening. And so, if you research Freakonomics and you look at that book, you can see that already 15 years ago, you had issues with websites, for example, that allowed you to list your homes. And this is for a town in Wisconsin, I believe. And in his blog, the author was saying that, well, there's reports that realtors have missed out on $17 million in commissions just because of a single website in a single town. So that was working at a smaller scale. And he goes on to say in the blog, the author of that book, that um, more and more of a pricing structure will move to a flat fee for listing properties and then an hourly rate for services provided, like open houses and showings. The total fees collected by real estate agents will fall dramatically. Like this is a prediction from 15 years ago, an early prediction. But it's obvious that in an era where information is free, you do not need to rely on the gatekeeper of that information in order to do your transaction. No, you can do it on your own for low to no marginal cost. And this is what Opendoor provides. Opendoor allows you to not use an agent. It allows you a self-serve service where you do most things that lead to the decision to purchase. And it's only after you've made the decision to purchase that you see an Opendoor agent. And this Opendoor agent has a very reduced function of helping you through the paperwork. That sounds very much like the author of Freakonomics said. But so, why were the authors of Freakonomics predicting the end of real estate agents? Well, here it is. How can you justify the fees? How can you justify the agent's fees? Because if you are selling a house or if you are buying a house, you are paying 6%. So 6% on $300,000, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And most buyers don't realize that they're paying that 6% because that 6% is embedded on the seller's side. So most of the time it's the seller who subsidizes the 6%. But either way, at the transaction level, 6% is being paid by both the seller and the buyer. And for what? For what service? Well, an agent might say, if you use an agent, you're going to maximize the home value. Why? Why would you maximize your home value if you use an agent? Because agents are specialists. They have an informational advantage. They know what is a good house and what is not a good house. They know what's a good school district and a bad school district. They know good things about the city and bad things about the city. They know how much taxes are going to be on that house. They know the health of the city. They know all of this data about the city, and that informational advantage they can use to charge 3% and 3% in the process. Except there is a little something called the internet, right? Um, and so I did a pause here for a reason because I mean, like, duh, it's obvious the internet, and so it's obvious that today the agent, which is supposed to be better informed about the house value, the agent that is supposed to be better informed about the state of the housing market. That agent does not have that specialized knowledge anymore. That specialized knowledge is live, updated on the internet. That specialized knowledge is not a moat anymore. You don't need to go through your agent to have the informational advantage about the value of your property, about the value of a neighborhood, about the value of a school district. All of this information is actually available on the internet. And it actually may make sense to think the internet as information, because the internet, if you go back to the early days, early 2020s, used to be called the information superhighway. So you have all of the information, and that informational advantage is falling. And actually, before this video, I was reviewing a lot of videos of realtors criticizing Opendoor to one extent, but really going even harder after Zillow, and like criticizing Zillow and saying, "Oh, Zillow's so wrong, Zillow's so wrong, Zillow's so wrong." Is Zillow that wrong? Oh, no, no, no. Zillow doesn't seem that wrong to me. They have so much more data points. Zillow is well ahead of real estate agents. But real estate agents can't stand Zillow because Zillow goes after their business. But that's not true, actually. If you've used Zillow on your home, if you've looked at Zillow, you know that Zillow is not that inaccurate. It is not that inaccurate. And the software is getting better and better and better and better. So if you think Zillow is inaccurate today, check Zillow in 6 months. In 6 months, Zillow is going to get more accurate because those algos are going to have more data. But no, I disagree. I don't think Zillow is inaccurate. I think Zillow is very accurate. And so you have real estate agent profession because they have this human embedded knowledge who are going out of their way not to use big tech in order to assess your property. So that's also a problem. But you don't. The informational advantage is gone. And so that's one problem. Another problem is that when information rests in a human, humans are humans. That's another problem. They respond to incentives. So this is the whole idea of praxeology in Austrian economics, is that humans respond to incentives, and real estate agents are gatekeepers to information, and this information they use to make decisions about what to do. So sometimes you may have a realtor who says, "Oh, I really think the housing market is going to go down. I really, really have to sell that house really fast. I really have to flip that house because I think real estate is going down in that neighborhood, so I better flip that house really quickly and sell it really quickly," right? That's information that you use to your advantage. Humans respond to incentive. It's natural. It's not a blame on. I'm not blaming anybody, right? I'm not blaming real estate agents, not blaming buyers, not blaming Opendoor. Opendoor is looking for its advantage as well. The advantage of Opendoor is that they're trying to disrupt the MLS. They're trying to disrupt a monopoly. They're thinking to their advantage. It makes sense that agents also think to their advantage. But when you use the mix of both information and response to human incentives, as the book Freakonomics eloquently explains, the main incentive becomes transaction volume. That is the main incentive. Popular culture has you believe that an agent has an incentive to sell your house as high as they can, to get you that extra 10,000 or that extra 20,000. But that is not the case. From a rational standpoint, given that a real estate agent is paid by the sale and not paid by the hour, they have an incentive to sell the house as quickly as they can, or to close the deal as quickly as they can. Volume is more important than average price, right? And in fact, when a lot of real estate agents advertise and say, "Oh, I'm a top agent," they talk about volume. They don't talk about average sold price or average sale price. So for a realtor, it really makes no sense for them to be working with you for like 3 months or 4 months to wait for you to get the best offer on that house. Like they're not going to wait 3 or 4 months. They're most likely going to tell you, and maybe they'll wait a week. But it's like the longer the process works, the more time and energy they have to invest, and thus it is less profitable. Thus they have to be transaction volume driven. And so when you look at this bestseller, and again, this is not my analysis, but I think it's important to go back to this analysis, is that the extra income obtained from selling a $300,000 home for an extra $10,000 is minimal compared to the time and energy that a real estate agent has to invest. So holding out for a month or two for a best offer is not the rational incentive for a real estate agent. The rational incentive for a real estate agent is to try to close the deal earlier. And so such human biases are, of course, once you remove humans out of the equation, once you have a self-serve app, once you remove humans, you use software, and software does not have these incentives. Software does not push you to accept the first offer, right? Software, whether you take 3 months or 1 month to make the sale, the marginal cost of software is going to be zero. Invested in transaction is going to be zero. So this is why Opendoor is better. This is why Opendoor helps you get a better house, because Opendoor is a customer-centric company, right? Opendoor wants you to get the best house, so you always go back with them. And Opendoor did not sink. Software did not sink cost into your relationship, into the relationship with you as a buyer, did not sink many costs. There's no cost, it's software. And so therefore, because the cost of software development, developing the best software to sell real estate is spread over millions of buyers, they can have a different set incentives, which is, I want to make sure that my customer has the best experience. I want to make sure that my customer becomes a repeat customer, so that in 7 years, 8 years, when they're back to buy another house, they think of me again. They think of Opendoor again, because I was not focused on quickly closing the deal. I was focused on getting them the best house for them and for their needs. And software has an unlimited amount of time and energy that it can dedicate to help you sell better. So again, this is not a criticism on real estate agents. This is a simple comparison of incentives. The software and the incentives have, and the incentives that a real estate agent are very different incentives. Human incentives are different than software incentives. And you don't want your real estate agent to be volume driven. You want your real estate agent to be driven by the idea of getting you the best house. But that's just not incentive. That's just not how incentives work in this context. Because in this context, because you're sinking a lot of time and energy into your relationship with a buyer, the incentives work in the sense that you are trying to maximize volume. And congratulations to the real estate agents that do not do that. Congratulations to the real estate agents that actually try to maximize the best house and not volume. But how many real estate agents really think in that way? And I don't know, maybe most of them, but I don't know. But it's like, how many real estate agents would be happy about a situation, say, where they work with a client for, say, 4 or 5 months, and then they realize that the best solution for the client is to not buy a house, or that the client is not ready to buy a house this year. The software is very likely to act very differently with the client compared to the agent, because the agent will have sunk costs. And so incentives will be different. Software does not have sunk cost in that relationship. So I hope this more theoretical overview of the dynamics between agents and buyers and sellers of homes, agents and clients dynamic really helps. Knowing that all of this stuff, I am mostly paraphrasing Freakonomics. But if you go back to that economics book who explains all of the issues with incentives, I think this is an important point to consider as to why I believe, not investment advice, but why I believe that Opendoor is a superior alternative, and why I'm very happy to buy the stock. So thank you so much for watching this little bit of a different video today on Opendoor. Have a great day. Thank you.